Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 2 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Got some comical news out of Greenville, where a dog put a pause on parking tickets earlier this morning as it jumped into a parking enforcement car. Now, Cassie, a massive dog with an even bigger personality, made the dramatic entrance by launching herself through a car window and landing in the lap of a parking officer. In a Facebook post by Greenville Police, a parking enforcement officer called police to report a, quote, dog running at large, end quote. Now, by the time Animal Protective Services crew arrived, Cassie had settled comfortably into the officer's lap with her rear end hanging out the car window, as you can see on your screen. Now, police say the furry hero was eventually reunited with her owners, but not before delaying a whole morning's worth of parking tickets. I'm sure there are plenty of parkers out there who are thanking Cassie for her heroics. Good stuff. Now, I do need to turn our attention to ongoing war in Ukraine, where President Trump is doing what he can to bring both President Putin and President Zelensky to the table for peace talks. NBC's Garrett Hake has more.
In a new attempt to stop what he calls a bloodbath, President Trump spent more than 2 hours on the phone Monday with Russian leader Vladimir Putin.
My little conversation with a nice gentleman named Vladimir Putin. Actually, we had a good talk, and I think that progress is being made.
Mr. Trump last week said he hoped a ceasefire would emerge from the call, and on the campaign trail vowed to end the war within 24 hours of taking office. Now calling for the two sides to, quote, immediately start negotiations towards a ceasefire and, more importantly, an end to the war, and suggesting that the U.S. may pull back.
I think something's going to happen, and if it doesn't, I'd just back away, and they're going to have to keep going. Again, this was a European situation.
Trump also speaking with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky twice.
Everybody is very interested in ceasefire. Too many losses. I'm not sure that Russia is ready, and we don't trust them.
Zelensky posting this morning, it is obvious that Russia is trying to buy time to continue the war and occupation. President Trump also floating the possibility of peace talks involving Pope Leo.
I think it would be great to have it at the Vatican. Maybe it would have some extra significance.
But Vice President J.D. Vance, who met with Zelensky in Rome on Sunday, says without progress soon, the U.S. may stop pushing peace talks. Vance's weekend meeting in Rome, a stark contrast from that Oval Office encounter in February, when he and the president accused Zelensky of being ungrateful.
Have you said thank you once?
You don't have the cards right now.
For his part, President Putin describing Monday's call with Trump as, quote, very constructive, but making no commitments to a ceasefire.
And again, that was Garrett Hake reporting. We now turn our attention to your weather forecast. Tomorrow is a first alert weather day, as we will have 2 rounds of storms rolling through the east tomorrow. One in the morning, another one that could possibly be a little bit more severe. Will likely be in the late afternoon, more so the evening and overnight hours. Let's take a look at what we've got outside right now. Cloud cover from the warm front of that initial boundary starting to make its way across parts of the east. Sampson, Wayne, Duplin counties all again seeing that cloud cover currently. Most of eastern North Carolina, though, has been mostly, if not completely, sunny for the majority of today. But tomorrow is a new day. We've got more storms on the way. One round in the morning, another on in the evening. Air temperatures currently reading in the upper 70s, some areas already into the low 80s. We've got 80 degrees currently in New Bern, as well as Jacksonville and Beaufort. 79 in Swan Quarter and Keaton'sville, along with Greenville. 78 in Washington and Rocky Mount. 77 degrees in Kinston. 76 right now through Stumpy Point, as well as Williamston. 72 in Elizabeth City and Roanoke Rapids. Winds continue to blow out of the northeast. Thought we'd see a little bit more of a shift out of the southeast at this point of the day, but still hanging on to that northeasterly breeze, which will keep humidity relatively low. That is good news. The higher humidity gets, the more opportunities there are for more widespread thunderstorms coming up early tomorrow morning. Here's a look at some of those storms as we kick off the day. 2 to 3 a.m. we'll start to see isolated spot storms rolling over the east, but we'll see a little bit more widespread storm activity as we head into the sunrise hours to really the kind of the commute hours early tomorrow morning. We're talking between 6 a.m. to around 9 a.m. We're anticipating again quite a few thunderstorms moving over the region. From there, those storms will fully pull away from the Outer Banks as we head towards 2 to 3 p.m. A secondary round may try to follow that one up, but then again, there is a look at that last round of rain. Right now, models not giving it a whole lot of juice. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Again, if model runs play out today as true, as fact, that will do a lot for us in avoiding that severe weather threat. That is something we can certainly hope for. Today, the severe weather threat really focused over Tennessee, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and portions of southern Kentucky. Tomorrow, that area will be quite a bit weaker, not nearly as supportive for severe storms as what we've got off to our west today. But that, of course, is something that we can always hang our hats on. The last thing we want in eastern North Carolina is an outbreak of severe weather. Now, following that cold front, cooler air will arrive. That cooler air will come with less humidity, making this weekend feel quite comfortable from pretty much start to finish. Notice those overnight lows starting out Saturday morning, low 50s. Now, by the time we get into your Sunday evening into Monday morning, those air temperatures for those overnight lows rise back up into the upper 50s, but still relatively low compared to what we're going to see as we head closer to the summer months. For now, another chance of rain rolls in coming up really more so next Tuesday. We could certainly see some rain on Monday, Memorial Day, but probably not looking at any sort of major threat of severe storms. So we have time for today's 2 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, I hope you all have a wonderful Tuesday.